Alright, against the odds time, we are playing some self-driving cars. Consulate Dreadnought in Standard. And this hand is actually pretty absurd. I sort of just want to play SRAM first, since we can't Dreadnought anyway and we have two of them. So, Inspiring Vantage, go. So we're going to wait. We can't turn this into a creature yet anyway. See what our opponent's up to. Huh? Okay. Blighted Fen for our opponent, so that probably means a ton of removal. Well, let's play an Aether Hub, get an energy, and let's just SRAM. Pass the turn. Could be Mono Black Eldrazi. Hopefully our SRAM lives. If not, we play another SRAM, play a Dreadnought. Then the next turn, our car starts driving itself. So this is like blue-black control. And anticipates. Well, shields down for the Dreadnoughts. Opponent passes. Ooh, there's a Heart of Kirin too. Well, let's lead on Consulate Dreadnought. Draw a card. It's a Cinderglade. Then Spire of Industry and Heart of Kirin, draw a card. It's a Sky Sovereign. Well, here comes the cars. Get in with SRAM. Very ungood at crewing. Our cars have expensive crew costs. And pass the turn. There's a swamp for our opponent. And passes. Well, let's Consulate Dreadnought, draw a card. Consulate Dreadnought, draw a card. Get in with SRAM. Man, if we ever find to start the engines and resolve it, that would be sweet. Alright, opponent pump fake, taps. Play Inspiring Vantage, pass the turn. We're also going to be able to start looting with Key of the City if it resolves, which is nice. There's a swamp for our opponent. And passes. Keep being patient. See if we can get our opponent to tap down. Alright, there's removal. Sure. So let's play Key to the City. Play another SRAM. Play Needle Spires. And pass the turn. Opponent plays another land. Curious Homunculus. Okay. Sure. Are they tapping out? Shamble back our SRAM. Okay. Well, let's discard a Cinderglade. Untap. Draw a extra card. Ooh, Blossoming Defense and Aether Hub. We'll play Aether Hub. I think we're going to Siege Modification. Our Consulate Dreadnought. You got a counter opponent? Ooh, and a Harness Lightning. Sweet. Well, let's attack for 10. Seems like a reasonable plan. 10-11 for strike. We even have Blossoming Defense up. Opponent's going to chump. And pass the turn. Opponent plays another land. This is kind of working. Oh, start your edges would be so sweet. Notches Gear Hulk for our opponent. Seems like a good time to Blossoming Defense. Fizzle the Gear Hulk activation. And see what we draw. Oh, come on, start your engines. We could even discard a card here and try to draw it. Harness Lightning. Come on, start your edges. We get an extra draw for it. 1 and 2. Come on. Oh, this would be so sweet. Draw an extra card. Harvester and tap land. We can actually do some sweet tricks with Harvester. So, Aether Sphere Harvester draws us a card. Ooh, and it's Peace Walker. That's also good. Gets us a couple energy. Now we can SRAM Crew Aether Sphere. Aether Sphere Crew Heart of Kirin. Not only self-driving cars, but the cars are driving each other. And then we will discard Sky Sovereign. Do some attacking for a lot of damage. Hit our opponent for 14. Down to 4. Play the Cinderglade. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a land. Only 2 cards left in hand. Sacks Blighted Fen. Well, we got a plan. We will sack SRAM. Opponent. Fumigate. Alright. Well, we don't need that right now. 1, 2, and 3. Play Peace Walker Colossus. Yes. We will animate a Heart of Kirin. Animate our Aether Sphere Harvester. And make our Dreadnought unblockable. So we got this covered in multiple ways. Well, our opponent's on an interesting build of blue-black control, but this is definitely working. Mono vehicle dot deck. And that does it. Exactly how we drew it up. That was too perfect. I don't even know if we change anything. I guess we could bring in the one Padim. I don't even know if it's worth it. Let's go down to Harness Lightning for the Padim. Well, all right. I mean, combo. We have turn 1 Dreadnought, turn 2 Key, hopefully turn 3 Siege Modification. Good game, well played opponent. I mean, they could have counters or something, but this is sort of the nut draw. There's a swamp for our opponent, and passes. So let's just Dreadnought, and pass the turn. Island for our opponent, and passes. Now there's a land, so let's play the plains, play the Key to the City. If it gets negated, it gets negated. That means, ooh, it does not. Well, let's see if our opponent can stop our siege modification. Another island, and passes. Ooh, there's a SRAM. Well, let's just put our opponent to the test. Siege modification on the Dreadnought. Resolves. Does our opponent have a way to kill it? And our opponent has the Fatal Push. Boo! Alright, pass the turn. Well, that was disappointing. Opponent plays a land. Now let's discard this Sky Sovereign, I think. Draw a card. It's a land. Well, play a... Actually, maybe we don't play anything. Let's just pass the turn. Another swamp for our opponent. And passes. We draw Inspiring Vantage. Well, play a SRAM. That's a lot of tapping of all black mana. So confused. Alright, just tapping for funsies. And then we will play Heart of Kirin, draw a card. Ooh, Aether Sphere. Alright. Essence Extraction on the SRAM. Yep. Well, play Inspiring Vantage. Pass the turn. Can start keying off. Harsh Scrutiny. Oh, that's what we call Scry 1 for 1 mana. Not good against our deck. We have 3 SRAMs, and that is it. I guess a Padim now, but... We also want to keep drawing cards, though. So let's discard this mountain with Key. Untap, draw a card, play Peace Walker Colossus. And we found a Start Your Edges. Now we just got to get our opponent to tap out and keep playing vehicles. And we can rev them up for the... Oh, is this tapping out? Tapping down. Opponent anticipates, paying 3 mana main phase. So confused. I don't know what's going on with this blue-black control deck. I have not figured it out yet. Opponent passes. Well, let's just play a Peace Walker Colossus. Fire up a Peace Walker Colossus. Get in for 6. Does not get hit by Fatal Push or Grasp of Darkness. I mean, I guess... Okay, our opponent's just tapping out. I'm so confused by what our opponent's doing over there. I have no idea. Pass the turn. Well, things are looking up. We might actually see the Start Your Engines kill. Hopefully our opponent just taps out. That would be awesome. Opponent taps down for no reason. Okay. Well, let's just untap. Siege modification. Let's go for it. If you got a counter, you got a counter. Start Your Engines. Is it going to work? Yes! Here they come. The self-driving cars. Oh my god. If they got Fatal Push, they kill Heart of Kirin. If they hadn't tapped their swamps for no reason, they might have been able to do other things as well. Oh my god, it worked, it worked. Well, that was a weird matchup, but that is exactly what we were planning on doing. And that does it. Oh, well, Consulate Dreadnought and the self-driving cars. Getting it done. Sweet. Oh. Alright, against the odds time, playing some self-driving cars in Standard. And we'll keep this. Actually pretty good. So, Needle Spires go. See what our opponent's up to. Question's going to be, do we play SRAM next turn or just a tap land? Foreboding Ruins and Bombat Courier. Gets in 4-1. We get a Cinderglade. Well, let's just play Needle Spires, pass the turn. I think next turn SRAM plus Dreadnought is better. Opponent gets in with the Courier. Exiles another card. Down to 18. And Implement. And a tap land. Well, Inspiring Vantage, play SRAM, play Consulate Dreadnought, draw a card, another tap land, and pass the turn. Hopefully our SRAM keeps living. Seems unlikely though. Alright, Unlicensed Disintegration takes down the SRAM. Opponent gets in for 1. Well, let's just play Peace Walker Colossus, play a tap land, pass the turn. Opponent sacks the Implement, so the question is going to be, does our opponent have more Unlicensed Disintegrations? If they don't, these Aether Sphere Harvesters are going to be great. Scrappy Scrounger for our opponent, gets in with the Courier, another card exiled. They're going to be able to refill their entire hand. Well, Mountain and Aether Sphere Harvester gets us some energy. And pass the turn. Opponent plays a land. Goes to combat. Goes attacking. Well, let's hope our opponent does not have Unlicensed Disintegration. Fire up Aether Sphere. Our opponent has a second one. Alright, not much we can do about that. Oh, there's not many removal spells that get us, but that is the one. Well, play another Aether Sphere Harvester. Play Cinderglade, pass the turn. If they have 3, then we're pretty much just done for. So, fire up Aether Sphere. Alright, fair enough. I mean, what do you do about that? Good news is, we get Radiant Flames, which seems pretty excellent in this matchup. Go down the Harness Lightnings and a Key to the City and try it like that. This is awkward, because we have no white mana somehow. Well, Mountain Go, Foreboding Ruins for our opponent, untapped, and Implement, not too threatening. Mountain Go. Well, now we mostly just want another land, so we can Aether Sphere, Siege Modification, and leave up Blossoming Defense. Servo Schematic for our opponent, and passes. Not a land. Well, 1, 2, and 3. You play Aether Sphere Harvester. Get some energy. Come on, land! For this Blossoming Defense, Siege Modification combo. White would be best. Opponent has a Free Jam Regent. Well, let's play Peace Walker, pass the turn. We really need a land. Well, this deck is a lot jankier than I imagined. Opponent gets in for 4. We have to discard a SRAM. And it's a tap land. 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think we're dead. Aether Sphere Harvester. Attack. Give it lifelink. Pass the turn. We really needed to draw a land last turn for Blossoming Defense, because now we're just dead to Unlicensed Disintegration. Pretty unfortunate. Opponent plays a land. Okay. Plays a Scrap Heap. Well, discard Peace Walker. Draw another one. 8, 9, 10 damage we can do, and that does it. Yeah, we needed that land. Land for the win, and we did not find it. Alright, against the odds time. Playing some self-driving cars in Standard, and this hand is awkward. Awkward. Aether Hub go. We have all Aether Hub mana base. And no Consulate Dreadnoughts. We do have a Star with the Engines and Blossoming Defense if we ever actually get to cast stuff. Key to the City. Well, get an energy. Play Key to the City. That's actually not the worst. We can discard a Blossoming Defense and draw a card. Hopefully that'll hit us our land drops. So discard Blossoming Defense. Draw an extra card. There's a land. And a land. Well, play Inspiring Vantage. Pass the turn. Opponent. Another Foreboding Ruins, and a Liliana, the Last Hope. Sure. Well, 1, 2, 3, play Aether Sphere Harvester. Gets us some energy. Play the Needle Spires, and pass the turn. There's an Aether Hub for our opponent. Takes up Liliana, and there's a Chandra. Well, luckily, we're going to be able to kill that with Aether Sphere. So, Siege Modification on Aether Sphere. Kill Chandra, and we might as well give it lifelink. And pass the turn. Takes up the Liliana. Grasp of Darkness. Now let's Blossoming Defense. And a Harness Lightning. Sure. Well, now hopefully we draw a land. That is a big deal here. Dare we just try to draw land? If we do and we get down Sky Sovereign, it's great. Problem is if we whiff on a land, what do? Nothing? Or if we draw like a tap land? No, we gotta get lucky. Land? The opposite. And that is most likely the game now. Takes up Liliana, so it's going to ultimate. Well, we got to try again. Land, please? Aether Sphere Harvester. Would have been sweet if we weren't already dead. Gets us some energy. Passes the turn. Well, we had multiple turns to hit the land drop to not die to Liliana, but wasn't meant to be. Another Liliana. Now our opponent's just going to overrun us with zombies, and there's not a whole lot we can do about that. Not a land. Well, fair enough. I think we just run it back. Hey, this is a bit slow, but I guess we try it. Inspiring Vantage, go. We just don't have any early game vehicles, which is not ideal. Evolving Wilds for our opponent. Harness Lightning, also not ideal. Well, let's get down a Key to the City. Pass the turn. Opponent gets a Swamp. Concealed Courtyard. Well, Key to the City, discard Harness Lightning, and draw an extra card. Lands everywhere. Well, play the Aether Hub, and pass the turn. There's a mountain for our opponent. Well, let's discard a Spire of Industry, draw an extra card. There's a Heart of Kirin. So let's just Aether Hub, get an energy, play Heart of Kirin, pass the turn. So this means we do get to kill a Planeswalker if our opponent plays one, which is good. That's where we want to be. There's Chandra. Yup. And we get to do it while leaving up Blossoming Defense, which is even better. Siege Modification, the Heart of Kirin. Kill Chandra. Play Needle Spires, and pass the turn. What's our opponent have? Fatal Push. Well, let's try to save it. Alright. Made our opponent use 2 removal spells, which is good. Plays a tap land. Well, let's just play Sky Sovereign. Pass the turn. Oh, goodness. Release the Gremlins, of all things. That is one of the downsides of this deck, is not especially great against Release the Gremlins. Yeah. Lots of artifact destruction, apparently, in our opponent's deck. Gets in. Well, we get an Aether Sphere Harvester. Get some energy. Well, let's see if our opponent's out of removal. There's an Aether Hub. They are not. Well, I guess that does it. And a land. Well, endless removal is pretty good. Alright, against the odds time, playing some self-driving cars, and this hand's actually pretty reasonable. Let's just lead on Cinderglade, pass the turn, see what our opponent's doing. Evolving Wilds, cracks it, gets a forest. Well, Inspiring Vantage, man, alright. Let's play the Dreadnought, pass the turn. Since we drew Siege Modification, we probably just should go for it. Opponent has Winding Constrictor. Well, Mountain, Siege Modification, attack for 10. Hope we don't get a Fatal Pushed. Alright, Ruinous Path also does it. That's alright though. We got in for 10. We still have a SRAM and a Blossoming Defense and a Heart of Kirin. Aether Hub. Well, let's Aether Hub, get an energy. Play a SRAM. Play a Heart of Kirin. More lands! Okay. Another Ruinous Path. And a tap land. Well, what would be good here? Our one Sky Sovereign? Oh man, that's so close. We can hit our opponent for 8? Oh, so now a Blossoming Defense would do it. Opponent gets in with Winding Constrictor. Another vehicle. Oh no, deck! Oh, we're so close. Why are you betraying us? Oh, we wanted just any car there to set up the start your engines. Opponent gets in with Constrictor. Luckily, their clock is not super fast. Never mind. Now it's a Cletus. Oh my god, deck. Oh my god. That's game, boys and girls. We had a lot of turns to find something, but it wasn't meant to be. Opponent gets in with both. Down to 7. Walking Ballista, 2 counters, and another land. Well then, okay. That was many lands. Many lands. Well, bring in the Fumigates, go down the Harness Lightnings. Alright, we're on the play. Jeez, opposite of last time. Now we get 0 lands. Oh, man. Cursed, confirm cursed. Land on top, put it to the bottom. Pass the turn. There's a Hissing Quagmire for our opponent. Play a Heart of Kirin, pass the turn. Blooming Marsh for our opponent. And passes. Well, Spire of Industry. Well, let's just play Peace Walker. I'm expecting this to just get destroyed, but we'll play it. No destruction yet. Blooming Marsh for our opponent. Traverse for land. And opponent passes. Play a mountain. And let's just pass. It would be nice if our opponent tapped down, or even out. Walking Ballista, X1. Definitely leaving up removal of some kind. There's a Dreadnought. Well, play the mountain. Play the SRAM. Play the Dreadnought. Draw a card. Another land. And pass the turn. Opponent passes. Well, another Dreadnought. Draw a card. Spire of Industry. Well, let's get in with our SRAM. Opponent kills it. Alright. Pass the turn. Next turn, we're probably going for it. Pretty much regardless. I mean, we have a good chance of getting blown out. This gives our opponent one more turn to decide to cast stuff. Alright, Winding Constrictor. That's stuff. And a land. And Kalidas. Alright. Well, this should be a good start, your engines. No attacks. Well, okay. Let's start our engines. And we will just attack with everything. And our opponent scoops it up! I mean, they could have done mass jumping, but decides it's not worth it. Oh, sweet. Well, let's try it again. And, well, we got a combo. Siege Modification Dreadnought. It does die to some of our opponent's removal, but Evolving Wilds, opponent cracks it. Needle Spires go. Uh-oh. We are going to need to draw land. There's Traverse. Cracks Evolving Wilds. Land? SRAM. Well, let's just play SRAM, see what happens. Hopefully it lives. If it does, that would be awesome. Traverse. Winding Constrictor. Well, that's good. We get to draw some cards here. Ooh, and a land. So, first off, Consulate Dreadnought draws us a card. Then, Consulate Dreadnought draws us a card. Spiring Vantage. Consulate Dreadnought, number 3, draws us a card. And pass the turn. We're close. We're not there yet, but we're close. Opponent has Kalitas. We could still use a land. And also, getting to Fumigate would be helpful. Sky Sovereign. Well, I think this means we just need to Peace Walker Colossus. Oh my god, the 4th Peace Walker. Pass the turn. There's the Verdurous Gearhulk. Now the question is, do we even live until we get to Fumigate? And the answer might be no. Opponent attacks. We got to jump with SRAM. Oh my god. Dead to removal. Jeez. Oh, this game, this draw. So disappointing. There's the removal spell. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Puts us to 1, but that still means we're dead because we did not draw lands. So I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Tireless Tracker and another Key to the City. Oh boy. Alright, against the odds time, playing some Mulligan into Oblivion in Standard. Actually, self-driving cars is the idea. We'll keep this. We are a red source away from having the combo. So let's just Plains and Consulate Dreadnought. Pass the turn. So red mana in the next 2 turns. Let's start attacking. Siege Modification does not. Well, let's draw a red source next turn deck. Opponent looks like a vehicles deck, most likely. Oh, Cathartic Reunion discarding 2 Radiant Flames. Well, come on, red source for the win! Spire of Industry does do it. 1, 2, and 3. Siege Modification on the Dreadnought. And we will attack for 10 on turn 3 with first strike. Alright, opponent, do you have a way to deal with this, or are you dead? We got him under the gun. They are on the run. There's a swap for our opponent. Oh, that increases the odds that they have removal. That means something like Fatal Push ruins our happy good times. Whew. That's just, I want a bit of information, because we could slam another Siege Modification, and turn 4 kill in Standard. So, oh, we can't. We're an energy short. That is disappointing. Well, let's play Aether Sphere Harvester, get some energy, hit our opponent down to 2. This is still pretty good because it puts our opponent in a position where now they have to answer 2 vehicles next turn. So Collective Brutality did buy our opponent exactly a turn. Lightning Axe discards Noxious Gearhulk. Oh, do they have reanimation? Is that what's happening? Aether Hub. Are we really gonna lose? Oh my god. Gets a Noxious Gearhulk. Oh my god. Goes back up to 13. Well, Siege Modification. Get in for 6. Give it lifelink. Alright, well, our opponent's still under the gun. They use a Lightning Axe. Hopefully they don't have another one, or we cry. We once again are presenting lethal next turn if our opponent can't deal with Aether Spear Harvester. Does not die to Fatal Push. Cathartic Reunion goes digging. Aether Hub gives our opponent energy. Come on. Opponent gets in with the Gear Hulk. Oh, that was a draw. That should win us the game. Siege Modification. Pumps up. Get in. For the win! We did it! Well, we were so close to the literal turn 4 kill, but our opponent managed to collective brutality to stay alive, but that was still pretty sweet. What do we want against this Reanimator deck? That is the question. Blossoming Defense is pretty good. Maybe we just run it back and go over the top. And... okay. Combo. We got the combo with Key to the City to make it unblockable. This is actually a lot like our last hand, but with slightly less siege modifications. But there's Concealed Courtyard. Well, Aether Hub and Dreadnought. Pass the turn. There's an Aether Hub for our opponent. And, alright, Combustible discarded to Tormenting Voice. Well, Spire of Industry, and I think we just Key to the City to try to start finding more lands. SRAM could be good eventually. Well, let's discard a second Key to the City. Draw an extra card, because we do need our mana. There's an Aether Hub. Play Aether Hub, pass the turn. Now I think we wait and just SRAM Dreadnought next turn. See if our opponent gets to reanimate this Combustible. Not yet. Opponent passes. So, play a SRAM. Oh, we gotta add white. Alright, play a SRAM. Play another Dreadnought. Draw a card. Land? Harness Lightning. And pass the turn. We would like to find a land. Opponent finds land. I'm assuming this means Combustible Reanimation. Yup. Alright. We just let our opponent mill. We only take 4. That's not too bad. Come on, land. Another Dreadnought. Well, let's play Aether Sphere. Draw a card. Land, please. Another siege modification. Gets us some energy. And pass the turn. Opponent goes attacking. I think we just take it for now. Down to 9. Tap land. Let's Aether Sphere Harvester. Go attacking. Gain back a bit of life. Fatal Push on SRAM. Okay. Yeah, let's give it lifelink. Go up to 12. Play Cinderglade. And just pass the turn. Opponent goes attacking. Oh man, this drains all of our energy, even for Aether Sphere. Alright, let's take it. Down to 6. Opponent has Collective Brutality. Well, I guess this means we have to kill the Gear Hulk now. Down to 5. Opponent gets to take our Blossoming Defense. Down to 3. We could use more energy somehow. So, Siege Modification Dreadnought, get in for 10. Opponent has another Fatal Push. Play another Dreadnought, pass the turn. If our opponent has another Reanimation, another Refurbish, then we're in trouble here. No energy to gain life. And our opponent scoops the match? Okay, sweet. I think they were just hoping to draw a reanimation spell, but that was an odd scoop, but we got there. Self-driving cars, sweet. Alright, against the odds time, playing some self-driving cars, and we got the, the double nuts. Woo, man, this is the hand, boys and girls. Double Dreadnought, double Siege modification. Good game, well played. Oh man, hopefully this is green-red energy. There's no way they can answer this. It's a green belt Rampager. I think we might be able to go over the top of that, just a little. There's an Aether Hub getting energy. So, boom, Consulate Dreadnought number 1. Boom, Consulate Dreadnought number 2. Pass the turn. This hand. This is literally as good as it could be. Opponent, attune with Aether. Sure, you do that. And green belt Rampager. Yup. You got a 3-4 on turn 2. That's pretty good. Cute little elephant. So let's play a Spire of Industry. And then I think we will tap our stuff and put a siege modification on a Dreadnought. Attack for 10. And opponent takes it. Yup. Down to 10. Well, this is the turn 4 kill hand. Aether Hub gets our opponent at energy. Can't even block. Oh, it's a Scrounger. Oh my god. Passes. Yep. Well, let's siege modification. 20 for striking power on turn 4. And our opponent scoops it up. There is no coming back from that. I think we kind of want Fumigates here. That's probably one of our better options against this deck. Let's just try it like that. And... alright, hopefully we draw Dreadnought. We got some Peace Walkers. And to start your engines. Oh, this is Jund energy. There's the Elephant. Gets our opponent energy. And passes. Well, Cinderglade, go. There's a Forest for our opponent. And a Long Tusk Cub. That's a bit annoying. More start your engines are not exactly what we wanted. Pass the turn. There's the Elephant. Bounces back to the hand. Pumps up the Cub. And attune with Aether. Plays a Mountain. Pumps the Cub. Well, we're taking 4. Yep. Down to 16. Opponent passes. Ooh. Unfortunately, that thing's a bit too big to harness lightning, so let's Peace Walker Colossus. Pass the turn. Man, opponent pumps the Cub again. There's the Elephant, gets our opponent in energy. They're just like all in on this Cub. And a Voltaic Brawler. Pumps the Cub, gets in for 6. Well, come on, white mana. Gives us some slight chance of living. It's a Mountain. Well, I think all we can really do is Siege modify this Peace Walker and play defense. Oh, not very confident here. Pumps the Cub. Rampager. Gets our opponent in energy. And there's Fatal Push. Alright. Wombo combo for our opponent on the play. Let's run it back. I think the setup is fine. Okay. Little slow-ish, but we got a SRAM to maybe draw some cards. Needle Spires, go. Also gonna have our white mana this time. And Sky Sovereign, pretty big, if we can get it going. Well, what's our opponent have? Blooming Marsh, and no Elephant. Come on, no Elephant. Ooh, just passes, alright. So, Inspiring Vantage, and let's SRAM. Probably gonna get Fatal Pushed. Pass the turn. No Fatal Push. Ooh, alright. SRAM lives for the moment. Game Trail, untapped. And Voltaic Brawler. That's not the end of the world. That means we're going to actually draw a card off our SRAM, which is pretty big game. Opponent passes. Well, playing Aether Hub, getting energy. We do want lands. Lands would be pretty sweet. Peace Walker, Colossus, draws us a Blossoming Defense. And let's get in with our SRAM. Opponent takes it. Woo, okay. That's not bad. Still need lands. Alright, opponent kills our Peace Walker Colossus. Well, come on, lands! All about the lands. Opponent gets in with Voltaic Brawler. 4/4. Come on, land. Oh, Fumigate, but not a land. Well, Peace Walker Colossus draws us a land. Alright, it's a tap land, but it's a land. Play Cinderglade, pass the turn. We're getting close. Still no art on the gremlins. Opponent plays a forest. And there's a Fleet Wheel Cruiser. Little bit scary. Gets in. Well, we got to take our beats for now. Hope we draw something. Down to 7. Come on, land. Ooh, it's a Dreadnought. Well, let's Dreadnought. Draw a card. Land. Aether Sphere Harvester. And then I think we got to pass and play defense. We can turn on our Dreadnought. We can also protect it with Blossoming Defense. Cruise up the Fleet Wheel Cruiser. Goes to combat. Attacks with both. Well, let's turn on our Dreadnought. Alright, opponent goes Fatal Push on SRAM. We let that go. And then we Blossoming Defense the Dreadnought. Eat the Fleet Wheel Cruiser. If we draw land to get to Wrath, we're in such great shape. Tap land. Oh my lord. 9 and 8 is 17. So we could put our opponent to 1. And we're dead to a removal spell. Well, Inspiring Vantage, go. Oh, the worst land we could draw. Now I think we're going to lose. Opponent plays a Brawler. Gets some energy. Well, if they got a removal spell, then it's game over. That's the story of this game. Long Tusk Cub. Alright, 1 card in hand. If that 1 card is Fatal Push, we lose. If it's not, then we win. Our opponent's not slamming this attack. This is making me think they don't have it. Opponent passes. We untap. That's a Fumigate. Clear the board. Go up to 9. Our cars don't die because they're safely in the garage. Pass the turn. Oh, I think we're going to win this. Opponent's only got 2 cards in hand. What do they got? Scrap Heap Scroucher. Okay. And passes. So let's play Aether Sphere Harvester. Get some energy. Pass the turn. Opponent passes. We draw Needle Spires. Well, let's play a Dreadnought. I think we can wait one more turn. Play Needle Spires, and pass the turn. Next turn, we should be able to win. Opponent plays an Aether Hub, and passes. We'll play Aether Hub, get some energy. Well, let's go for it. Start your engines! Does that do it? Did we get the win? And our opponent scoops it up! Self-driving vehicles finding their way past Jund Energy. This deck. First game we got a nut draw, and then game 3 we just managed to outlast and fumigate for the win. Sweet! So what do we learn this week about self-driving cars in Standard? And somehow, out of 6 matches in 14 games, we ended up with exactly 50% match and game win percentages. We got 3 of our 6 matches, 7 of our 14 games, which is pretty reasonable. So that's actually a pretty good record. We also played some fairly powerful decks. Jund Energy was a Pro Tour deck. Green-Black Delirium was a Pro Tour deck. We played against some of the bigger decks in the format and were able to hold our own sometimes. So the good news of the deck is the combo of Siege Modification and Consulate Dreadnought is incredibly game-ending. Like, there were definitely games where we would just pull off the combo and win on turn 4, and there wasn't much our opponent could do about it. Having a 10 power attacker on turn 3 is just so much bigger. Our opponent's playing Winding Constrictors, and we're just attacking with a 10-11 first striker. So when things go well, we close out the game incredibly fast. We also got some sweet start the engine kills out of nowhere where our opponent probably didn't realize they were dying. We just play some vehicles, we don't have any way to crew them, our opponent's at like 20 life, and then all of a sudden start your engines and the game just ends on the spot. Key to the City was fairly good at doing its job of making things unblockable. SRAM was better than I thought. I was worried that SRAM would just die immediately, but when we had a SRAM, it actually generated a lot of value, drew us a lot of cards, so that's the good news. The deck actually worked fairly well, and the bad news, which is probably what would keep this deck from being a somewhat real deck in Standard, is we just match up really poorly with some pretty popular cards. In the main deck, Fatal Push is just such a beating for this deck. We also had times where we would assemble the Consulate Dreadnought Siege Modification combo, plan on using it to win the game, and then all of a sudden, Fatal Push, 1 mana, we get 2 for 1, we lose our biggest threat, we've kind of emptied our hand setting up this combo, and we pretty much lose the game on the spot. So that's one big problem. After sideboarding, there were also some issues as well, where we had some games where Release the Gremlins is so big against us. Fragmentize kills a lot of our stuff, so people are prepared for artifacts, and they're prepared for small creatures or low converted mana cost creatures thanks to Fatal Push. So while we can do insane things sometimes, those insane things also backfire sometimes, and we lose the game on the spot instead of winning the game on the spot. So overall, I think the deck is actually competitive enough that I would consider maybe playing it for fun, maybe taking it to an F&M, but there's not really any salving of the problems. Like, we already have Blossoming Defense. There's not much else we can really do to try to save our stuff from Fatal Push or save our stuff from Release the Gremlins and Fragmentize. We just gotta kind of go for it and hope for the best, and there's not really anything we can do to make those combos more resilient, less likely to get disrupted by the common removal. So it's kind of one of those, it is what it is decks, and when it works, it's awesome, and it's really powerful, and it's a really fun idea, and I'm happy with how it worked, but I think it's just a little bit too inconsistent to be a real deck. That said, I would definitely just jam it for fun, because it is a really cool idea, and maybe the best part of the deck is we do have a lot of redundancy. We have so many vehicles, we have 12 different ways to turn them into self-driving cars that we are very consistent at actually setting up what we're trying to do. We never really had a problem getting some vehicles, or very rarely, sometimes we flooded, but that's magic, but we rarely had a problem getting vehicles and a way to turn them on. The question is whether or not that's always good enough, and that's where the deck can kind of fizzle sometimes, is when we're doing our thing, it still doesn't end up being good enough for the format, but I think it's fun. I'm glad we played it. It's really cool, and when we randomly get the turn 4 kill, I think we're faster than essentially any deck in Standard. Like, we are on pace with a deck like Copycat Combo, when we can just turn 1 a Dreadnought, turn 2 a Key to make it unblockable, turn 3 Siege modification. We are as fast or faster than the fastest decks in the entire format, which is pretty sweet. Anyway, that's been our Against the Odds for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the videos, and I will talk to you soon.